Hello everybody. Today we will discuss the models of the welding heat source. Last class we have discussed the analytical solution of the different heat source associated with the welding process, but in analytical solution we assume that heat source can be represented like a point heat source, kind of a line heat source, and based on that with other assumptions we can get some kind of the analytical solution of the temperature distribution in a welding process. But in actual practice, the representation of the heat source in the form of a point or line heat source, that may not be the feasible, and because if you look into simple arc welding process also, or even other welding process, that energy is not distributed exactly focused concentrated on particular point, rather it is always in the distributed source, and accordingly we have to look into the different aspect of this heat source model. First thing is that what is the distribution follow, what kind of mathematical equation can be represented using the distribution of particular arc welding process or any other welding processes. And second point is that the distribution happens over what kind of the regular geometry. So, that has to be decided, and based on that different other heat source models has been developed. So, in this case we will try to look into the distributed heat source, but there are two kind of the distributed heat source. Maybe first is the circular disc shape heat source, that means distribution we are assuming over the surface, or distribution may happens over the particular well defined volume. So, that volume has to be predefined. For example, most of the cases we use some kind of the ellipsoidal shape of the geometric volume, can be ellipsoidal shape, or maybe other, in these cases we will show that kind of oval shape or maybe a configuration heat source model. And sometimes according to the welding process, there is a possibility of looking into the heat source model development. That is not only the single kind of the heat source model, then hybrid heat source model can also be possible to develop. But before doing that, we will try to look into that how the mathematical equation of a surface heat flux will gradually develop this knowledge or this thing understanding. That is first surface heat flux, and then we will look into the volumetric heat flux or maybe volumetric heat source model in this particular context. So, here you can see the circular shape heat source model. The first, if you see circular shape heat source model, it is over the surface, it is over the circle, the heat flux is distributed over the circle. That is the one kind of the heat source, or it can be ellipsoidal heat source model. Ellipsoidal heat source model, maybe look into that in case of stationary welding process. Normally we use the ellipsoidal heat source model. This is a well known heat source model, but it is over the volume. So, distribution happens over the volume, but what way the heat flux density distributes, that we normally follow the Gaussian distribution, but it is not necessary every time we have to follow the Gaussian distribution of the heat flux intensity. The distribution may follow in other equation also. We will show if distribution changes, then what way the volumetric heat source model actually changes. Now, apart from that, double ellipsoidal heat source model also we need to consider, because in this case double ellipsoidal means simply merging of the two ellipsoidals and making a double ellipsoidal heat source model, which is more practically significant when we are using any kind of the moving heat source problem. So, that means heat source is moving one particular direction. Normally in welding process, though it is not always the stationary heat source, but sometimes the heat source can move one particular direction. So, in that case simply ellipsoidal heat source model not sufficient. In that cases we need to merge two different ellipsoidals such that non-symmetric energy distribution along the, because of the welding velocity, can be incorporated. So, in that sense the double ellipsoidal heat source model has been developed. Then quadruple ellipsoidal heat source model also will look. In this case the non-symmetric energy distribution not only on because of the welding velocity, but apart from the welding velocity, if we consider the non-symmetric energy distribution due to the different material properties in case of dissimilar materials. In these cases the double ellipsoidal heat source model can be extended to the quadruple ellipsoidal heat source model, or I can say that quadruple ellipsoidal or double ellipsoidal model is basically simple one specific derivative of ellipsoidal heat source model. So, in that case we will try to understand first how the ellipsoidal heat source model can be developed. So, apart from that, there are some conical heat source model or a configuration heat source model, and hybrid heat source model can also be developed, and we will discuss little bit about the other kind of the heat source models. But apart from that, there is another heat source model, that is called the adaptive heat source model. Adaptive heat source model we have some specific computational advantage in heat source model, or it overcomes certain inherent difficulties in case or in terms of the parameters of a welding heat source. So, that can be overcome by using the adaptive volumetric heat source model. We will discuss also the adaptive volumetric heat source model is particularly important, and maybe that may be significant more if we try to develop some kind of the finite element based heat transfer analysis of your own. In that case of your own code, then it is easy to implement the adaptive volumetric heat source for them, rather than using as compared to the kind of commercial finite element based software. In that cases, it is little bit difficult to implement the adaptive volumetric heat source model. Anyway, we will discuss all this kind of the heat source model. So, first start with this different heat sources model, but what way we can incorporate this heat flux or distribution of the heat flux, heat intensity into the model, into the heat transfer model. So, this heat conduction equation, we know this is the 3-dimensional heat conduction equation. We use that this term, the highlighted part is that Q dot, that is called the, according to this heat conduction 3-dimensional heat conduction equation, this is called the internal heat generation term. But mathematically, if we want to implement the volumetric heat source in particular welding process, then we have to incorporate this volumetric heat flux through this internal heat generation term, and ultimately we will be try to look into the internal heat generation term in the sense that we will try to estimate what is the volumetric heat distribution, heat intensity or volumetric heat flux, that will try to estimate, and then after estimating this thing we incorporate this through this Q dot term. So, but actually the convective flow of the liquid metal is neglected, that is true, because when we analyze the any heat transfer problem, if you use only the heat conduction equation, then basically we are neglecting the material flow within the small whirlpool. In that case, since we are neglecting the material flow in a small whirlpool, then surface heat flux, if the assumptions of the surface heat flux is not sufficient, because that may not be able to give you the correct estimation of the heat input to the particular welding process. So, definitely in that case it is necessary to incorporate the effect of the volumetric heat flux. So, we have to represent in that when there is a finite volume of the molten pool exist and the material flow is significant, in that case it is necessary to incorporate the volumetric heat flux. So, surface heat flux is not sufficient in that case. Now, Q dot term, definitely this is the internal heat generation, physically it is called the internal heat generation term, but mathematically it is called the volumetric heat, and specifically it is in that sense that in welding problem we just incorporate this volumetric heat through this Q dot term. But difficulty in defining the volumetric heat a priori, that means the main difficulty is that suppose when you define the particular volumetric heat source term in welding process, it is necessary to predefine what may be the geometric parameter of this particular volumetric heat flux. So, for example, if we assume the it is a ellipsoidal heat source model, but in that cases ellipsoidal heat source model is having geometric parameters. So, a semi-axis length of this ellipsoidal is necessary to define the volumetric heat flux. So, that is one of the limitation, although we can represent the different heat source model, but that is the limitation. So, before start of the simulation we need to define the geometric parameters of this particular volumetric heat source. So, to overcome that difficulty, then adaptive volumetric heat source can be used in this case. But here in the boundary condition, because this is the governing equation, the heat conduction equation, but it is we have to supply some kind of the boundary interaction. So, boundary condition in the mathematical form can be represented like this, all the terms are informal convective heat loss and radiation from the surface, that is the counts the heat loss, radiation heat loss, and Q is the heat flux, that is the applied to the domain, and then this is the heat conducted away, exactly the heat conduction, what is the value of heat conducted exactly on the boundary. So, that make a balance in the boundary condition in the, so this is the typically we represent the boundary interaction in this particular mathematical equation. But see, there is a term Qs, Qs the surface heat flux. So, once if you incorporate the volumetric heat flux, normally in arc welding process if you assume the volumetric heat source term exists in this particular arc welding process, then we incorporate this volumetric heat flux through the q dot term. So, in that case it is not necessary to incorporate the heat flux through the surface heat flux term, that means through the Qs. So, then in that case we do not consider the Qs, but in certain particular problem maybe it is not necessary to incorporate the volumetric heat flux. In that case maybe it is possible to incorporate the heat flux, the supplied heat flux through the surface heat flux term. So, there is a flexible enough in this modeling approach that both way it is possible to incorporate the heat flux either through the q dot term, the volumetric heat generation term, or heat flux can be incorporated through the surface boundary surface flux. So, both way the heat flux can be incorporated in the model, and even certain cases also we have already given an example, then in resistance spot welding process it is also necessary to incorporate the heat flux from both way. So, that means in some part depending upon the problem. So, some part it is also necessary to volumetric heat generation term, then volumetric heat flux we incorporate through the q dot term, and in the certain part it is necessary to incorporate the surface heat flux, and surface heat flux can be incorporated through this term. So, that is why it is very important to understand that what way we can incorporate the volumetric heat flux or surface heat flux in a finite element based heat conduction based heat transfer model. Basically heat in these cases we are not considering the material flow, only the heat we are solving the heat conduction equation to get the temperature distribution. But overall if we look into the volumetric heat flux term, in these cases different geometric shape can be assumed. Different geometric shape can be assumed means it is not necessary always we have to incorporate the ellipsoidal shape or double ellipsoidal shape. Maybe some other kind of geometric shape can also be considered. We will show that even if we consider the A configuration heat source model also, that is the geometric shape is different from the ellipsoidal or double ellipsoidal form. And apart from that, not only that geometric shape, the second part is the different heat flux distribution can be used also. So, most of the cases we are assuming the Gaussian distribution of the heat flux. So, Gaussian distribution it normally follow the exponentially decaying the heat flux from the maximum intensity at the center to gradually decreasing towards the boundary, but it is not necessary it is a heat flux density distribution can be a different way also, or different equation we can use also, that will show. So, it means that once you try to understand the what is the volumetric heat source model, that can be completely defined by looking into the two aspects. One is the what geometric shape you are considering, and second part is the what distribution you are considering. Both are important to understand to develop a volumetric heat source model. Now, we will look into the most widely used the one by one. The first start with the surface heat flux, then we will try to look into the other volumetric heat flux model. So, models of the distributed heat flux on the surface, and we can see that what we can incorporate this thing. Just let us look into the surface heat flux only. So, this figure indicates that this is the typical arc, the shape of the arc. If you look into the what is the typical shape of the arc, that at the intensity the gap is the arc at the intensity, this is the maximum, and the intensity is gradually decreasing both the sides in this form. This is the typical shape of arc. So, this is the flame is the arc flame spread in that way that it is from this position to the gradually decreasing to these things, but we can mathematically represent in the form of intensity, heat flux intensity. So, that means heat flux intensity means in the sense that it is a per unit area, that it is at the center point it is become maximum, intensity is the maximum, and gradually if you see the towards the boundary it is gradually decreasing. So, this kind of nature mathematically you can represent the heat distribution is the in this way, that particular equation the QR, it is a radial distance. So, assuming that the heat flux falls on a circular shape over a circle. So, it is like that only, the arc can be represented as a circle, and this is the center point is the maximum intensity, and the boundary is the towards the boundary it is the minimum intensity gradually decreasing from center to these things. So, this mathematically can be represented by the equation QR equal to Q max is a function of R and exponentially decaying, exponential e to the power minus C into R square. R is the radial distance. So, R from the center to this is the radial distance. Now, at the R is the variable here. So, C is the called the distribution coefficients or distribution parameter. So, C is the constant term, some distribution coefficients or distribution parameter. It means that indicates C actually indicates that whether it is very steep, can be distribution can be very steep or it can represent, or it can be the shallow kind of these things. So, distribution. So, it is a spread of the arc is better represented by this term the distribution coefficient C parameter. I can give an example also. For example, C equal to 3. If you use the C equal to 3 value, this is normally in the arc welding process, but this if C equal to towards lower side, maybe in case of 2 or less than that can be used in case of the laser welding process, because if you compare the intensity of the laser and the arc, that means over the surface over which laser falls, there is a the spread should be very steep in case of the laser welding process, but the spread of the arc is not that much of steep as compared to the laser in case of the arc welding process. That is why the C can be 3 approximately in case of arc welding process, or C can be in lower side, it can be 2 or less than that in case of the arc laser welding process. So, that is why we can differentiate depending upon the spread of the arc, but that has to be decided the what can be the C value, or it is possible to decide also in terms of other parameters. We will show how C can be evaluated or C can be decided. Now, Q max indicates the maximum intensity at the center point, at exactly at the center point Q is the max. So, basically the R equal to 0, at R equal to 0 what is the value of the maximum intensity, this is the condition. So, R equal to 0, Q equal to Q max. So, if you see R equal to 0, then Q R equal to Q max. So, then maximum value. So, then from the maximum value it is gradually decreasing as a function of R. So, this way you can express these things. Now, there is other part, this is the C, this arc. So, arc, this part is called the effective over which the arc spread, for example, arc spread up to this point. So, then it is called the effective arc radius. So, we can see up to that point we can count that heat intensity distribution. Beyond that we may not count, even there is a small amount of the distribution may be there, but what is the effective radius of the arc in case of the arc welding process, that has to be defined in this case. So, this way we can represent that distribution of the arc in the particular equation. So, that means Q max, then this is the maximum value and gradually decreasing the exponential way towards the boundary, and this kind of distribution is normally called the Gaussian distribution. So, in this case Gaussian distribution, we do not know what is the value of the Q max. If we know the value of the Q max, even also we do not know what is the distribution parameter. If these two parameters are known to us, then we can completely define the heat flux intensity distribution in this particular model. So, that we have to look that what we can estimate the heat flux density distribution. So, in this case we can see that Q r can be represented the Q max r exponential C into r. So, these two things are there. What is the maximum value of the heat flux? So, what is the value of Q max, that has to be estimated, and what is the distribution coefficient value, that has to be estimated. We can estimate this thing and this way. So, let us look into that, what we can estimate these two things. First is the, so Q equal to Q max. So, if we assume that total heat input to this domain Q, because this heat flux intensity it indicates the per unit area. So, according to the Gaussian distribution, it actually we can see the Q r, and if we take, suppose this is the circle part as a radial distance r, we take an element, so this area, elemental area dA equal to twice pi r dr, this is the elemental area. So, now if we integrate over this dA, and that integration 0 to infinity, this is not finite, because if you look into the Gaussian curve also, according to the nature of the curves, this is the asymptotically converged on the x axis or as a radial distance r. So, then we can extend 0 to infinity. So, that indicates if we integrate over the area, so over the elemental area intensity falls, then if we integrate over this elemental area, then we will be getting the total heat input to this particular surface. So, that take element, it is like that only. So, it can be 0 to infinity. So, Q r equal Q r, here it is the Q max, we can say the Q max into e to the power minus C r square dA, dA equal to twice pi r dr. So, that is why we can estimate this integration Q m integration e to the power minus C r square, we can say d equal d of minus C r square, then it can be pi should be outside and 2 is there, divided by minus C. So, making the balance. So, pi q m maximum by minus C, and this is the integration. Now, we know this integral from 0 to infinity e to the power x dx equal to minus 1 in this case. Now, this integrates that equal to minus 1, that means it can be pi q m by C, or we can see that from here we can see that q m maximum intensity equal to C into q by pi. So, this is the maximum intensity value, but this is C is C, the distribution coefficient is unknown, but other part also I can say that q also, q can be estimated like that. So, then q is the total heat input. So, q can be like that, V voltage into amp. For example, in arc welding process, the input voltage and input current, we can measure the input voltage and input current also. So, volt into ampere current, that indicates the power, or maybe in this case is the energy input per unit time. So, in this case, if we multiply the efficiency term, because once the creating the arc, what is the input power, that may not be transferred to the workpiece surface, because here we are calculating this volumetric or surface heat flow whatever, based on that what is the amount of the energy transferred to the workpiece. So, then within the workpiece we are assuming some volumetric heat flux term, accordingly we define the geometric shape, either it is surface or volumetric, and then we are integrating over this thing to estimate what is the total energy input because of this particular geometry, or that hold by this particular geometric shape, whether volumetric or surface. So, that amount of energy Q can be estimated, that suppose it is the efficiency. So, if you incorporate efficiency term, this is the effective energy input to this exactly to this surface. So, that Q will be like that only. So, then assuming that then Q is known, then the C is the unknown in this case, but C is the distribution parameter. If we assume the distribution parameter is something like that, say over at the boundary, because it is at the center it is a maximum and gradually decreasing to the boundary. So, if is the exactly the at the boundary q m intensity at the boundary is basically maximum, the 5% of the maximum intensity with this assumption. So, that means 5% of the maximum intensity at the boundary, that means at the boundary R equal to R effective at the boundary. So, this boundary, so we can put this the intensity, because intensity we assuming that q r. So, q at the boundary value equal to q m into 0.05. So, that is equal to q max, q m here maximum intensity into e to the power minus C into say R effective square. So, we say that at the boundary only the 5% of the energy falls exactly at the boundary, and at the boundary effective value of the radius equal to R E F F. So, put this condition, then we can say that 0.05 q m equal to q m into e to the power minus C into R effective square. So, from here we can say that 0.05 equal to e to the power minus C R effective square. So, logarithm both side. So, ln 0.05 is around minus 3 approximately minus 3 equal to minus C into R effective square. So, from here we can see that C is basically approximately C equal to 3 by R effective square. So, Q into Q by pi, C equal to 3 by R effective square. It means that it is approximately 3 Q by pi R effective square intensity. Now, what we can estimate the distribution parameter. So, Q equal to, so we can say Q equal to Q max equal to 3 Q by pi R effective square, okay, and e to the power minus C r square, C equal to the r square divided by C equal to 3 by r effective square. So, now this is the expression. Now, Q is the intensity, heat flux intensity at the center, and a Q max, and then in these cases we can estimate the Q max equal to, this is the value of the Q max. Now, distribution parameters we can see the Q equal to Q max into e to the power minus C r effective square. We can estimate the from the boundary condition, in the sense that if we put the boundary interaction that exactly at the boundary only 5% energy falls on the boundary. From that condition we can find out what is the value of the distribution coefficient C. Of course, the similar kind of the value it will be able to estimate that within this zone, that means within the effective radius r, the 95% is energy within this effective radius r, and remaining 5% is outside of the boundary of the arc. So, in these cases, because that distribution parameter is chosen in such a way computational, because it is not, will not get the definite value exactly on the boundary. So, in that cases if we make the energy balance, that means 95% of the energy inside the arc, make the similar kind of the calculation, we will be able to get the similar value of the distribution coefficient. So, this boundary condition is required to find out the value of the distribution coefficient C equal to this thing, the distribution coefficient. And if you know the distribution coefficients, and there also we can find out what is the value of the maximum intensity at the center Q m in terms of the Q, and finally we can reach, this is the distribution equation of the distribution in case of the circular kind of the disk heat source. So, that you see that Q m is in this cases intensity, the Q should be known, and we can estimate what is the Q value. Q is the total energy input to this domain, and that energy input can be estimated from this thing. I have shown that we know the efficiency term, thermal efficiency, then in case of the arc welding process, or in case of laser welding process, this expression can be the efficiency term into the power, because directly laser welding process we directly estimate what is the power input. So, input power it can be estimated if you multiply the efficiency term, then effective power is basically goes into the workpiece. So, that effective power here we count as a value of the Q, and that effective power, in terms of that effective power we can estimate the distribution of the heat flux distribution over the surface. So, that C3 is the distribution coefficient here, and 3 is the distribution coefficient. So, actually the distribution coefficient can be different value. If we assume here, we are assuming that only 5% energy is falls on the boundary, and based on that we are getting the distribution coefficient value of the 3. But if we assume the assumptions can be different, then C value can be different. So, depending upon the welding process itself, or I can say that rather than the experience in the practical of different heat intensity associated to the different welding process, this is possible to find out the different value of the C or distribution coefficient value. We will show the different calculation also based on this basic these things. So, but in these cases we first asked, we have to find out what is the value of the maximum heat flux that we can estimate. Second, what is the distribution coefficient, the value of the distribution coefficient, that means C in this case, this is C in this case, and the maximum heat flux in this case, and then total heat input. Total heat input we can show through the integration of the total heat input over the surface. Similarly, if you want to estimate the what is the total heat input in case of the volumetric heat, if you know the expression of the volumetric heat flux density distribution. So, from there if we integrate over the volume, then you will be able to find out what is the value of the total heat input to this substrate, and that total heat inputs that must be equal to the, can be linked with this other process parameters in a welding process. Just I explained that total heat input Q here in this cases, if you know the volt ampere, input voltage and ampere in a welding process, and then multiply by the efficiency term, then you will be getting the total heat input. Or in case of the laser, if you know the laser power used in this experiment, if you multiply the efficiency and then you will be getting the basically thermal efficiency, then you will be able to know what is the value of the total heat input to the substrate metal, and that is equal to Q. So, this way we can understand that heat flux density with the same principle, the different heat source model can be developed. We will show one by one. So, this thing we have already explained this thing, that models of distributed heat source in case of the surface. Now, we will try to explain the nature of volumetric heat source, that means we will look into the volumetric heat source. So, what kind of the nature of the volumetric heat source is decided by the actual practical problem or in pertinent to the welding processes. First is that whether conduction mode heat transport. Definitely we will try to focus on too much of this volumetric heat source model in the case when we are looking into the conduction mode heat transport problem. Second is the keyhole mode. It is possible to develop also that volumetric heat transfer can be incorporated in case of the keyhole mode heat transport problem, but this problem has to be treated in a different way. It is also possible to develop, because keyhole mode heat transport model, in this case is the keyhole formation or shape of the keyhole, it is not exactly very smooth, that can follow kind of the regular geometry shape like ellipsoidal, double ellipsoidal kind of conical shape, but it may not follow this thing. So, most of the cases keyhole shape or volume of the keyhole can be assumed the arbitrary volume. So, in these cases if it follow kind of the arbitrary volume, then what we can develop the heat source volumetric heat source model in when there is a generation of the keyhole, that we will discuss in this one of the in this module also later on. Third part is the material content surface active elements. Definitely suppose metal is having surface active elements, in this case is that possible to explain this effect of the surface active element just looking into the conduction based heat transport problem. So, I think in that cases I say that it is no, in because presence of the surface active elements alter the nature of the material flow pattern. So, in that sense I can say that presence of the surface active element is more influence on the material flow behavior. So, in that cases it is necessary to look into the material flow, that means we have to look into the fluid flow phenomena in a welding process. So, in that cases not necessary explicitly to develop some kind of the heat transfer model in this particular case. Fourth case may be dissimilar material combination. So, in these cases we are discussing this thing, but if there is a two different material if you want to join. So, two different material, the thermal diffusivity of the two different material may be different. So, in these cases the shape of the volumetric shape of the heat source may not be the symmetrical as compared to the similar kind of the material when you are joining or when you are developing some kind of the heat source model. So, definitely dissimilar material model, how we can handle or develop the heat source model in case of the dissimilar material we will show also that. Of course, we can say that in double ellipsoidal heat source model, although we are taking the non-symmetric energy distribution, but double ellipsoidal heat source model we are taking the non-symmetric energy distribution just looking into the because of the welding velocity, but dissimilar material welding that there is another non-symmetry, that means welding velocity, this accounts one kind of the non-symmetry energy distribution, at the same time two different materials also account some amount of the non-symmetry energy distribution. So, both of this non-symmetric energy distribution we can takes care of the different way, simply extending the double ellipsoidal heat source model to the quadruple ellipsoidal heat source model. But apart from this thing, there is a one issue that what we can estimate the selection of the heat source parameters. So, based on that different heat source model has been developed or people are working to finding out what is the different way to count or to account the different heat source parameters. I am talking about the heat source parameters, means suppose we define the volumetric heat source, what we can take the different size the semi axis length in case of the ellipsoidal or double ellipsoidal heat source models. That is the one particular issue associated with the heat source model, that we already explained this thing. Double ellipsoidal heat source model, what we can account the heat source parameters, and that induce some amount of the uncertainty in the heat source model development. So, to overcome these things, it is possible to some extent takes care of by developing the adaptivity in the heat source model, both in the linear spot welding process, we will discuss the linear spot welding process, the adaptive heat source model. But finally, it comes to this point that even so, within these issues associated with the selection of the heat source parameters, that drives to develop some kind of the new heat source model, such that the model parameters can be reduced in this new heat source model. We will show that if you in a particular development of the new heat source model, in this case the A configuration heat source model, there is a need of the we can reduce the one parameter needed as compared to the double ellipsoidal heat source model. But finally, should it follow the distribution over the regular geometric shape I say no, not necessary always we have to show regular geometry. Even if you look into the arbitrary shape of the volumetric heat, is possible to develop the volumetric heat source assuming the arbitrary shape that will show, and in particular to the keyhole mode laser welding process. So, in distributed volumetric heat source model, we will start with the ellipsoidal heat source model. So, ellipsoidal heat source model, we can see that in case of the ellipsoidal heat source model, that we normally use in case of the spot welding process, we can see an ellipse kind of this thing, assuming that these are the three different axes. So, semi major axis A, y axis B, and Z, it is the length of semi axis length equal to C. So, A, B, C axis length, semi axis length in case of the ellipsoidal heat source model. So, it is a volumetric heat source model. Now, assume the heat flux intensity, it can be represented the volumetric heat flux intensity Q x y z e to the power minus A x square minus B y square minus C z square. Suppose this is the distribution of the heat flux, we are assuming the Gaussian distribution, the Qm is the maximum intensity at the center point O, and A, B, C, capital A, B, C are the distribution parameters. So, capital A, B, C, there are two things, what we can estimate the maximum flux and what we can estimate the A, B and this distribution parameter. X, Y, Z are the variable in this case. Now, first we can look into that what we can estimate the maximum heat flux intensity. So, same kind of this thing, what is the total heat input over this volume, over this geometry, we have defined the geometric shape as the ellipsoidal shape. Now, over this geometric shape, what we can estimate the total heat input, assuming this is the volume. So, we can say the total heat input in this case Q equal to, so integration over, say if you see the extents x axis, in this case minus infinity to plus infinity, because y axis also we can see minus infinity to plus infinity, and z axis we can say 0 to infinity, and q x y z we can say the element dx dy dz over the volume, the elemental volume dx dy and dz. Now, we can see the symmetric kind of 0 to we can convert all of 0 to infinity on the x and y axis, and z axis also 0 to infinity. You can see this 4 term will be there, 2 symmetric. So, minus infinity to plus infinity is equal to 2 into 0 to infinity because of the symmetric nature. Now, q x y equal to q m e to the power minus a x square minus b y square minus c z square. It is a dx dy and dz. So, we have to do this integration. Now, first thing is that what we can estimate the distribution parameter. There are two things are there, what we can estimate the distribution parameter, and second thing is that intensity we can find out. So, let us look into do these things. So, 0 to infinity 4, I say that q m is the keep outside, q is a constant in this case at the center for the intensity, then e to the power minus a x square dx, we just separate in the integrand 0 to infinity, e to the power minus b y square dy 0 to infinity, e to the power minus c z square dz. Now, 4 q m. So, integration if you look into this definite integral 0 to infinity minus e to the power a x square dx equal to root over of pi by 2 into 1 by root a. So, we apply this formula here also. So, it indicates that root over of pi by 2 1 by root a. Similarly, for y root over of pi by 2 1 by root b, root over of pi by 2 1 by root c. This indicates total equal to 2 to 4 balance pi root pi q m by twice of root over of a b c. So, that is equal to q. or I can say that q m equal to the maximum intensity twice q root over of a b c and by pi root pi. In this case, we have considered the three different distribution parameter, that is flexibility is there because we are assuming the distribution parameter along x axis is different, a distribution parameter a, along y axis it is b, and along z axis it is c. So, we are considering the distribution parameters can be incorporated in the different way, not exactly we are assuming the same distribution parameter for along x, y and z axis. So, that kind of flexibility is there, but point is that what we can estimate the distribution parameter a, b and c the different way. So, simply assuming the same analogy that the maximum intensity falls exactly the 5% on the boundary. So, intensity on the heat flux intensity on the boundary indicates that it is the 5% of the maximum intensity. With this condition we can find out what is the value of the a, b and c. Let us look into the what are the value of a, b, c in this case. So, we can consider one case for example that q equal to say at this boundary a. So, q equal to x equal to a, y equal to 0, z equal to 0. Then in this case q m e to the power minus a square and e to the power other term will be the for y and z component it will be e to the power 0 1 or e to the power 0 equal to this thing. Now, this value equal to q at the this boundary value that heat flux intensity at the boundary along the x axis. So, that value is the 5% of the, so 5 divided by 100 5% of the maximum intensity equal to q m, that is equal to q m into e to the power minus a small a square. So, from here we can see the 5 by 0.05 equal to e to the power minus a square. So, we can take the logarithm ln 0.05 equal to minus a square. So, it is approximately minus 3 equal to a square. So, we can say that a is basically approximately a equal to minus sign, here also minus sign, this will be plus. So, plus 3 by a square. So, a equal to, it is clear 3 by a square. The similar analogy we applied the earlier also when you try to estimate the surface heat flux intensity, the same analogy we can apply also. Then if we put the similar condition for the y axis and similar condition for the z axis, then we can reach this kind of expression that b is approximately 3 by b square and c is approximately 3 by c square. So, it means that this distribution parameter is actually vary depending upon the value of the different semi axis length. So, if a, b, c are same equal, then we can see that if a, b, c are equal, then distribution parameters are same, because that we also observe in case of the circular kind of the heat source model, we in that cases the a was equal to b, a equal to b. So, that then it reduces the single distribution parameter 3, but this b depends on this value of the what is the semi axis length basically from the center to the what is the boundary, that distance, depending on that the a, b, c distribution parameter can vary also. So, we can estimate what is the maximum intensity value in this cases, putting the value twice q root over of a, b, c. A, b, c means root over 3 will be coming pi root pi, and here it is a, b and c. So, finally, it will be coming 6 root 3 q by pi root pi a, b, c. So, this is the maximum intensity exactly at the center point in case of the ellipsoidal heat source model. So, that we can estimate these things. Now, ABC is the distribution parameter in this case. So, what it changes the distribution equation, if you see that the heat Q equal to x, y, z equal to q m 6 root 3 q by pi root pi a b c into e to the power minus 3 x square by a square minus 3 y square by b square minus 3 z square by c square. So, now we can get the complete equation of the volumetric heat flux density distribution in case of the ellipsoidal heat source model. So, that indicates the 6 root 3 q pi root pi a b c into e to the power minus 3 x square by square minus 3 y square by b square minus 3 z square by c square. So, remember if we change the boundary condition, actually this thing, so this distribution parameter can be different in these cases, the heat flux, this distribution can be different also depending upon the what you are putting the boundary interaction. That means what in this case we assume the 5% of the intensity falls exactly on the boundary. If we change this intensity with the less than that or more than that, then this distribution parameter will change and the equation will be different also. So, depending upon the situation or problem, we can make the different this thing. Maybe for example, when you use the double ellipsoidal heat source model, it is better to use this thing, this expression, the intensity flux q equal to 6 root 3 q pi root pi a b c into e to the power minus 3 x square by a square. But if you change it, for example, if you change it, then you find out the distribution parameter, not exactly we can find out the distribution parameter is maybe 2 by a square, something like that distribution parameter. So, then if you see the if you do the similar calculation also, then your expression will be completely different if you change the distribution parameter. So, that is be careful into that in this case, that if you try to understand that what the distribution varies and what we can change the parameter also depending upon the problem, we can also do that this thing. So, this way we can estimate the ellipsoidal heat source model. Now, we can see what we can estimate the double ellipsoidal heat source model. So, ellipsoidal heat source model, how what we can be extend to double ellipsoidal heat source model. So, now that we see that we use some ellipso having the axis length a, b and c, but in case of ellipsoidal model is more suitable in case of the stationary heat source model. But suppose there is a heat source is moving on particular direction. For example, this is the x axis and this is y axis and z axis. So, now heat source is moving along x axis. So, definitely the energy distribution in the front part, energy distribution in the rear part will be completely different. So, to account these things, simply merging of the two parts of the ellipsoid. So, that means front part of the one ellipse and the rear part is the part of the another ellipse can be merged together, then it is possible to develop the double ellipsoidal heat source model. So, it is possible to extend the double ellipsoidal heat source model from the calculation of the ellipsoidal heat source model, that we will see. So, suppose A f B C is the part of the one ellipse, A R B and C may be other ellipse. So, it is like that only with respect to y z plane, and since if heat source moves in the, say maybe arc is moving on x direction, then we have to configure the two ellipse, maybe part of the one ellipse, this is the one major semi axis length, other cases semi axis length are this one, and it is merged together, and at the same time this part of the one ellipse and this is the x axis, this is y axis, and this is the part of the another ellipse. So, that is the, so this is called AF and this is AR, and B is the other axis and C is the depth. So, in these cases C is the along the Z axis. So, in these cases there is a variation of the ellipse in the this AF and AR, part of the two different ellipse, but B should be the same for the both the ellipse when you merging together, and of course, it would follow the C1 continuity. C1 continuity means at the center point the slope should be same when you are merging these two slip, and the dimension is the same B for both the ellipse. So, that it will try to maintain the C1 continuity and makes the double ellipsoidal heat source model. So, definitely in this case we have seen that Q we can estimate this thing double ellipsoidal heat source model, and we can see that Q equal to heat flux equal to 6 root 3 Q by pi root pi A B C. This is the maximum intensity, and e to the power minus 3 x square by a square minus 3 y square by b square minus 3 z square by c square. This is the expression or intensity in case of the ellipsoidal heat source model, but double ellipsoidal there is a two ellipse. So, now we assume this, we can change it in the two parts, say for the front part Q f can be represented the 6 root 3 and Q can be, let's say Q f f. square by B square 3 Z square by C square. Similarly, rear part also we can represent like that 6 root 3. So, Q F R A R B C. So, e to the power minus 3 x square by A R square So, this is the heat flux intensity of the front part and heat flux intensity of the rear part, but total heat input, what is the total heat input we can estimate, that can be divided into these two parts, maybe not exactly the front part what is the total heat input Q, and for the rear part total heat input Q1 and Q2, but we can make it as a fraction, maybe FF, we have introduced the FF and FR. FF is the fractional heat deposit in the front part because of the non-symmetric energy distribution, and FR is the fractional heat deposit in the rear part. And of course, for the front part, this is a part of the one ellipse, so we use the AF term, and the rear part we use the AR term. But it is a this instead of taking Q total heat input equal to that what we have seen this thing, in this case we use the QFF FR, such that we can divide the total heat input into Q equal to Q1 QF plus QR total heat input. And if we balance these things and do the integration similar way, we can find out that total Q can be represented like that, that Q equal to half of FF into Q and plus half of FR into Q, the total heat input. So, 50% of that, and then accordingly we introduce the fractional heat deposit in the front and rear part, such that it can be Q by 2 into FF plus FR. Even if we do the integration also, we can show the similar kind of equation, FF plus FR equal to 2 in this case. Now, definitely W is at the center point, the maximum intensity should be the same even if we consider the front part, maybe one ellipsoidal, and even if we consider the rear part, such that intensity should be the same at the center point. It means that this maximum intensity is this. So, if that should be same, then I can say the Q into FF by AF equal to Q into FR by AR. It means that this FF by FF by AF equal to FR by AR, and that can be represented FF plus FR divided by AF plus AR. Now, from the energy balance also, if you estimate, even if you this Q equal to QF plus QR front, and we have divided the energy into these two parts, this thing and these two parts, such that FF plus FR equal to 2. Even if you do integrate over, if you do the integration over the first part, say this is the Q1 QR and this comes to the QF. So, that means total energy input for the front part, rear part. If you follow this calculation similar way, integration over the domain, you will be able to reach this kind of the expression, FF plus FR equal to 2. Now, FA plus AF, that can be written, can be that FA plus FR divided by AA plus AR, such that we can see that equal to FA plus AR equal to this equal to twice and AF plus AR. It means that, so fractional of heat deposited can be estimated FF equal to, I can say that AF twice AF by AF plus AR, and fractional deposit into the rear part equal to twice AR divided by AF plus AR. It means that, so as compared to the ellipsoidal single ellipsoidal heat source model, if we look into the double ellipsoidal heat source model, then we can see the two, this term comes into the picture, what is the fractional heat deposited in the front and what is the fractional heat deposited at the rear part. So, that we can estimate in terms of the other parameters. So, AF plus AF by AR or twice AR, or FR equal to twice AR by plus AF by AR. That it means that AF and AR should be explicitly defined then we can estimate what is the value of the fractional heat deposit in the front part and what is the amount of the fractional heat deposit in the rear part. Apart from the, because this FF and AR is independent of the other two parameters, in the independent of the B and C parameters. And why you have considered the FF and FR comes into the picture, because we want to take care of the non-uniform energy distribution at the front part and rear part. That is why we merge two different ellipsoidal, and maintaining the C1 continuity, we can develop the double ellipsoidal heat source model. So this is the one of the issue, that what is the value of the AF and AR should be considered in the double ellipsoidal heat source model. That is the one particular issue, and that enhance one need the that parameter is not explicitly defined until and unless it is a AF and AR can be defined based on the experience, or directly the AF and AR parameter can be linked with the welding velocity, and we can estimate the value of the AF and AR as a function of the welding velocity. If we put it, then we will be able to estimate what is the value of the fractional heat deposit in the front and rear part. But remaining the maximum intensity will be the same value what we can estimate the ellipsoidal heat source model, and but these things are extra in these cases to estimate the AF and AR value in case of the double ellipsoidal heat source model. So that is all today. Next class we will discuss the remaining, that apart from the double ellipsoidal heat source model, what are the other kind of the heat source model, or how we can extend the double ellipsoidal model to the quadruple ellipsoidal heat source model with a similar analogy by introducing the fractional heat deposit in the front and the rear part. So thank you very much for your kind attention.